Hey guys, Andrew here for Footloose Boots, and tonight I have included two gorgeous looking pair of boots here. Now they're actually different even though they're same. What's the difference? Let's talk about it. The first boot that I'm holding in my hands is actually the woman's variation of the Puma Ultra Ultimate. Now, you're probably a little confused that I said woman's pair, and you're like, well, there's no difference there. Well, there is one slight difference that I wanted to point out to you. And whether you're a guy or a girl, I think you might enjoy the difference depending on your foot shape. Now, for me personally, I prefer the men's version, but you might actually prefer the woman's version. Why? Well, let's talk about it. Here we have the woman's Puma Ultra Ultimate, and if you notice, the toe box is actually higher than in the men's variation. So here's the woman's, here is the men's version, and you see it's actually narrower in the men's version than in the woman's. Now, why did Puma make this change? Well, I don't actually know the answer. I would love to hear in the comments of why you think the woman's one is higher toe box than the men's. I know from a friend that she told me that, you know, women's feet tend to expand as they age and they need more volume, but again, she's more into designer shoes, so I really would take that with a pinch of salt. But if there are any women's soccer players out there that want to comment on why they think that the women's variation has more volume than the men's, please comment down below and educate us. But not every guy has a nice, narrow, pointy toe box. So if you don't like a nice, narrow, pointy toe box, then maybe the woman's variation is the one for you. Again, it's all a matter of preference. But if you wanted to know the difference, well, now you know. And how does this affect fit? Well, for me, who likes a nice pointy toe box, I feel a little less connected to the ball. And because it's raised, it's caused a little bit more volume here. Not an incredible amount, but right here by the top, the bottommost lace, you have a little bit more volume than you would have on the bottom. But again, it's a subtle amount, and it's only because of the toe box. It might make these a little easier to break in, but they both break in about the same amount of time. And again, the sole plates are exactly the same, so no worry about getting the right size. Just if you get the woman's version, go one size and a half up, so 1.5 up. And if you go for the men's, you know, do the opposite math if you have to. Alright, so that is the woman's Puma Ultra and the men's Puma Ultra and the differences. I'll show these on feet real quick so that you can see, but again, you can really tell that there's much more volume in the woman's variation than in the men's. So here are the two cleats on feet, and again, you can see that their shape is pretty much the same. They're not any wider or narrower than each other, but again, you get that little bit more volume. And again, it's not a lot, but especially towards the end of the toe area, there's much more space than I would have had in the men's variation. Again, it's not a big difference, but it is something to be aware of, that you get that little bit more space. And you might actually prefer it. Not everyone's foot is the same size, and honestly, it's more generally appealing to have a little bit more space down there. I think the narrow, tight, pointy toe box is going to be a thing of the past soon, because it makes it more appealing to more consumers if they can actually fit their feet in it. But again, something to be mindful of when buying these boots. And I did mention that it causes a little bit more volume on the top of the foot, but as you can tell, it's pretty marginal. It's really that toe box. Do you want more space between the end of your toes and the top of the upper? Or do you want it a little bit more pointy and a closer touch, depending on your foot, to the ball? Alright guys, so if you ever wanted to know the difference between the men's variation and the women's variation, well, now you know. I've been Andrew, and this has been Footloose Boots.